Hey, it's time to talk to you about one of the most insidious problems in philosophy, and it's called, well, we might call it midstream bivalence. And it's where you treat a real world concept that's actually kind of fuzzy in a matter of degree as this strict Boolean, like it's either true or false. So that's bivalence. And what the weird effect that it has is it can give you conclusions that are actually pretty topsy turvy. So let's say I'm pretty sure of P, right? And so I'm pretty sure. So P is true. And I'm pretty sure of P entails Q. I'm pretty sure. So P entails Q is true. And so if P is true and P entails Q is true, then we get Q is true for free. And that feels great, right? That is revelatory. It's like I'm getting somewhere. I'm divining secrets from the universe from these things that I was pretty sure about. But what if I was only 70% sure of P? But I said I was sure, so true, right? But if I kept that number at 70%, and then what if I'm only 70% sure of P entails Q? Well, that means I'm only 49% sure of Q. Now that doesn't make Q 49% probable. What it means is that there's a 51% epistemic space in which I don't know anything about Q enough to say. But let's say that our other priors said, hey, if P isn't lending epistemic support to Q, Q is actually cosmically unlikely. 0.00000 whatever, right? Well, if that's the case, then my pretty sure about P and pretty sure about P entails Q actually led to a coin flip chance of Q. But when I used midstream bivalence, which gave me a downstream true 100%, now compare it to where we're at now. That's a big difference, right? That's a big problem. And this is an ancient problem, a contemporary problem, and a widespread problem. This kind of bivalence, all sorts of stuff gets shoehorned into Booleans when it shouldn't be. Phrases like reliable cognitive faculties, true or false, epistemically justified, true or false. Was the decision up to me, true or false? Was this thing morally obligatory, true or false? None of those things should be shoehorned into bivalence, and yet they are all the time in serious attempts at philosophy. Now, why would this happen? Why would we see people doing this? This comes back to more broader mimetic issues and problems in philosophy, which is that almost all the time, the answer to some of the most perennial philosophical debates are either depends on how you want to define it, or I don't know and we probably can't know. That's most of the answers, but that's unacceptable because that doesn't get anyone published. That doesn't advance anyone's career notoriety. And it's not even that sinister. That stuff just doesn't get talked about. It creates no conversation. Dead conversations tell no tales. So there's this natural deflation of these sad realities that those are sometimes the right answers. And this midstream bivalence works against that. It gives us false confidence and false revelation. Not necessarily false revelation, overconfident revelation, I should say. So that's why it's so widespread. It's easy to explain. But there's this incredulity. Like, how could this be? How could so many renowned, smart people be taken by this and be using this when it's such a problem? And that's the answer. And as long as we're there with a crisp, clear, concise answer, we should be good, and we should be able to get excited about saying, you know what, I'm finding myself at odds with all these other dudes, but I have a great reason. And pointing out the problems with bivalence is one of the clearest ways to point out how this kind of thing can happen, and how to show others how this kind of thing can happen. So, be on the lookout for bivalence. I've been struck by sickness at the end of the video. As you read the next philosophy paper, look at those terms they're using, and are they being used in a bivalent way in order to be used like baby blocks in their Boolean logic? Because if they are, there's probably a huge problem, and it's probably part of why it sounds so exciting in their conclusion.